On tonight's episode, the first episode of the new year, we talk about Nosferatu, all the versions of it.
And other pop culture news from the week.
So it's 2025.
Oof.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Welcome back to Retina Weekly. I'm your host. and you're a host too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your lovely co-host.
Yeah. I'm Alex.
I'm Chelsea.
And welcome newcomers and what they call?
Newcomers and old timers.
Old timers. What they call? What they say on the radio?
Long-time fans. First time. I don't know.
First time caller, long time listener.
There you go. Yeah.
Anyways, welcome. Tonight we're gonna do what we call Retina Review.
Retina Remake Review.
Retina Remake Review.
Yeah.
So Retina Cube.
I don't think we've ever managed to say
Cube?
that right. Yeah.
Cube. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though we watched 4 movies this time, but
That
it's
was
not
a
about
lot.
it's not about the number of movies. It's about the number of
Yeah,
R's.
the 3 R's.
Yeah. So
So.
we watched different versions of the same, not the same movie. It's kind of the same story, telling different movie versions. This time we watched Nosferatu, the vampire, or Nosferatu, and we also pushed there the shadow of the vampire, and we're gonna explain why. So a little bit of history then. You want to tell when is the first one and who
Sure.
directed and all those details?
Yeah. So the first Nosferatu movie was filmed in 1920.
22.
Yeah, that sounds
I'll
right.
correct you. Go.
Okay.
I'll mansplain.
Appreciate ya.
I
Yeah,
forgot
you
the
keep me
dice.
right.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
so 1920s, so like the very earliest days of film.
So it's silent.
It's silent, it's black and white. It's actually really beautiful, I think. German director named Murnau. And what he wanted to do was make a Dracula movie, Bram Stoker's Dracula. But Bram Stoker's estate, his widow, didn't give him the permission for it. So
They did try.
They did
Wow.
try, yeah. They
Yeah.
did ask. But she said no. And so he did it anyway, but he called it Nosferatu, about a different vampire named Count Orlok. But if you know Dracula is...
They changed the names, but everything else is
Right? It's like, yeah, you can copy my homework, but, change whatever so it doesn't look the same. And as a result, later on, he was sued, and most of the copies of the film were destroyed. So it really only exists in like fragments that have been put back together over time. Anyway, it's available to watch on Amazon Prime, and it's a great piece of like cinema history. I think everybody should try watching a black and white, or not black and white, but a silent film at one point, and really lets you appreciate the art form.
the evolution of
The art form, where it came from. Anyway, it's beautifully photographed. It's very cool.
A warning about the first one, the Nosferatu by Murnau, with Max Schreck. The version on Amazon is a colored version.
Yeah.
So it's not full on black and white. They color. The processing for coloring is like 24 frames per second. You go to each frame
and like paint it. Yeah.
So they have that version there. Again, if you really wanted to watch a black and white version and you're watching Amazon, you can always go to your TV and put it on black and white.
That's true. That's true.
Turn the saturation down.
One note I will make about the Amazon version, I would also watch it on mute. Whoever did the score for it, I think it's terrible and distracting and kills the vibe of the movie, because the music doesn't always line up with what's happening on screen. Like there would be like really jaunty, cheerful music when like spooky stuff is happening, and then it's just it messes with it.
Yeah, silent movies. They would be showed in cafes and in not burlesque, the vaudeville theaters. So they would show the movie and someone would play. Not necessarily would be the original soundtrack.
Right, there wasn't an official score, but you'd have these crazy talented musicians who'd just be watching the movie and then could play music that fits the vibe. spooky or romantic or whatever. If you watch Singing in the Rain, actually, it gives you like a fun glimpse into how that might have worked. Anyway, whoever set it up for the Amazon, the version they have on Amazon, did not have those same skills.
Yeah.
That said, even with the color, even with a meh score, I think it's still really interesting to watch. And I found it very convincing. The Nosferatu character, I think, it's just iconic. The way they use shadow, and yeah, the way they use shadow in the movie is as part of like Nosferatu's power, but also the way they do it like visually, it's so cool and very striking because of like the black and white, even colors. Anyway, because of when it was filmed. But he also has this way of standing like with his hands like this, and the prosthetics on his hands that make his fingers look super long, and his costume that makes his shoulders look very wide. It's just great imagery, and I think it's a very interesting, well done film, despite the quasi plagiarism.
Yeah, it was plagiarism. It was not quasi. It was actual plagiarism. But anyways, Max Schreck is as Lord Orlok, Count Orlok.
Count, yeah.
Gustav von Wangenheim as Hutter, and Greta Schroeder as Alan. Those are the main characters. And a couple more things about this one. We saw 3 other movies. The next movie would be Shadow of the Vampire with Willem Dafoe would be the biggest thing there. But had Carrie Hughes.
That's right, as a cinematographer. And is it Jared Harris?
Jared Harris? What?
Wasn't it one of the Harrises? Nope,
Jared
am I making
Harris?
it? Nope.
Udo Kier?
I just saw Jared Harris. Never mind. I've got Harris's on the brain.
Okay.
John Malkovich
Malkovich.
as playing Murnau.
Yeah. Catherine McCormack, Eddie Izzard, and some other talented people. But anyway, so this one is not a Nosferatu movie per se. It's a fake documentary. Not fake documentary. It's a movie that showed the behind the scenes.
It's historical fiction, I think we could call it.
Historical fiction, sure. About the making of Nosferatu. And some myths and some urban legends that came with it. So, Nosferatu, the movie about the vampire, based on Dracula, there was like, in the beginning, right? There was, the Dracula was released a decade or so before that. And it was in everybody's mind. It was very dark, obscure, horrifying, if you may. And then comes this actor to be a vampire on a movie by Murnau that wants like uber realism. And there was like myths around that time that Max Schreck, the actor, there was method. Stanislavski, he would stay on the method, he would stay on the character, and all that generated in people's heads that he's actually a vampire. So that became a source of myth and jokes. So someone decided to make a movie about that. What if Max Schreck was actually a vampire? And the director made a deal with him, made a deal with the devil to make a movie about a vampire with a vampire. If you're gonna make a movie about a footballer, you're not gonna get a skinny guy. You're gonna get a big guy. So the closest you can to realism. If it's not in the frame, it's not real. So the movie is about that, and it's funny. It's interesting. It's John Malkovich is good in everything he does.
He's a great psychopathic genius.
Yes.
Which is kind of how they portray. I don't know anything about Murnau, but it's definitely how they portray him in this movie.
Yeah, and Willem Dafoe also scary as he is in so many other things. As a matter of fact, the directors for first Spider-Man saw him on this movie and decided to cast him as Green Goblin.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's rated R. It's from 2000. It's an hour and a half, and it's an interesting peek on what was or what could have been the shooting of Nosferatu from Murnau. And anything else?
No, it's really fun. I think I loved Willem Dafoe in this role, and also just the great attention to detail. And I definitely recommend watching the original Nosferatu before you watch any of these others, but especially before you watch this one, because there's great attention to detail in all the props, the costumes, and sort of restaging these scenes from the film. It was a really fun
Yeah.
watch.
So I have more to talk about the original, but let's move on. I'll come back for it. The next one we saw was a movie called Nosferatu the Vampire by another German. Another German that he actually considers Murnau one of the biggest, if not the biggest, filmmaker in Germany. But this one, Nosferatu the Vampire, Phantom der Nacht, the original in German, from 1979, is PG, surprisingly. Directed by Werner Herzog, who also wrote with Bruno Ganz. And is there any German movie without Bruno Ganz? Right, he was Hitler on Downfall.
Oh,
The
okay.
Fall.
Yeah.
Anyways, he's in the role of what was the original was called Hutter, which this one is called Jonathan, because this one uses the names from Dracula, because Dracula is now.
That's right. This one they kind of go more.
Yeah.
There's no need to pretend that this isn't Dracula anymore.
Yeah.
And so he embraces kind of both. In fact, this one includes Renfield, the
they
Dracula's
use the original
familiar
names. Yeah. The Demeter, the ship is Dracula. It's Lucy and Jonathan, just like in the Dracula book. And Coppola's Van Helsing, and not, I can't remember his name, the other one.
Dagnabbit, I remembered it this one.
Anyways, and Isabelle Gianni as Lucy Parker. Klaus Kinski as Count Dracula. Anyways, so this German director, writer, he wrote and direct. This is a different experience, because on this one, it has sound, it has voice, it has dialogues and monologues, and
it benefits from all the advancements in movie technology, right? Like color film and better lighting and film and cameras and
color,
all this other
reality.
stuff.
They shot
better sets.
Yeah. Anyways, so the story is very similar. And let's talk about the story a little bit, since we didn't talk about it. But it's the story of Dracula. Dracula, in the different versions, there's some things that are the same. In this case, is that Dracula wants to buy a house.
That just sounds so homey.
Yeah, he wants to buy a house, and he talks. He gets in touch with realtor.
Real estate agent. Yeah.
And
in a German town.
He sent someone. Oh, in the case of Dracula, it was actually London, right?
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Yeah. And then he sends this guy sends his best guy to Transylvania, the land of ghosts. What's it called? The Phantom Land of Pain and.
Oh, that's right, the land of phantoms.
Yeah.
And then later in the movie, he's like the land of thieves and phantoms.
Yes. So he sent his best guy to Transylvania to do with this lord, with this count.
Just to sign all the documents. It should be a pretty straightforward real estate deal, right?
Yeah. And this guy accepted the documents is like in a different language that the guy signs, but he doesn't know what he's signing. And because of that, or maybe not so much because of that, he encounters this count in this mysterious land where the neighbors are afraid of this count, of this castle. So he goes there, and there's a scene is common in all the movies that he's cutting bread, and the idiot cuts his finger, and then the count.
Yeah.
Right.
And he grabs, in most of the movies, not the most recent one, but in most of the movies, Orlok grabs his hand and just sucks the blood straight out of it, which our young hero is justifiably super freaked out.
Oh no, I'm mad. He's German, so that's why he sounds like I'm mad. Anyways, so well, it turns out that the count is a vampire, and the count sees a picture of the agent's
Young wife.
young wife. It's like, ooh, me like it.
It's even better in the original. He says, "What a beautiful! She has such a beautiful throat." So many red flags.
Right. So and then he basically find ways to move to the house to get close to the neighbor. And
But as he comes, he brings the plague with him.
How is the commandment? Like he covets neighbor's wife.
He does, quite literally, quite literally. In fact, it even says as Orlok is like signing the papers, he's like, now we are neighbors.
Yeah.
And Agent's like, yay, that's it. Okay.
And then he moves to town, to the house, and
the plague comes with him.
The plague comes with it.
And like bajillions of rats.
Rats. On the way, people die on the ship, and people start dying in town. And in the original, there was like pieces of a book, right? Like when the cards, they would show like pieces of the cock and the crow.
Yes,
and like,
yes.
So in this one, of course, they use the spoken language to show some of that. She reads the book, the wife reads the book, and then things go to this guy wants to eat my and she find a way to fight him.
So the original, it kind of seemed like a happy accident, right? So the deal is like if the way to defeat the vampire is if a young maiden pure of heart can keep him distracted until the first cock crows, then he'll die.
Yeah.
And in the original, it seems like it's just kind of a happy accident. Like he shows up, she submits to him. And
didn't she hold
he's
him
so
back?
occupied.
Didn't she hold him like, don't go
original?
yet? No, I can't remember.
I don't think so. I don't remember
Because I
that.
feel the version she
but
does.
so then in Herzog, I feel like this was really Herzog's big contribution. Besides just telling this all in like a bigger, more cinematic, more beautiful way, that Helen becomes, or our female protagonist becomes more of an agent, and like she learns about this lore, like this is how to defeat him, and so she decides like, he wants me, I'm gonna sacrifice myself to save my husband, to save everybody.
Yeah.
And so she has more agency, and that's where you get the scene like he's drinking her blood, and then he starts to walk away, and she pulls him back, and
she reads, and she has more knowledge of how to deal with it, to the point that she blocks the evil powers using holy, what's it called, the little thing.
Oh yeah, the communion wafers.
The rolling communion to block another vampire. You're gonna get to that.
Yeah.
And she's smart. She reads, she researches, and find a way to defeat the vampire, and so she does.
She also like kind of collaborates with the Van Helsing character.
True. And so she wins. And one thing that was very different on this one is that at the end, when she's the vampire dies, she dies, and the husband remains. The husband and Van Helsing. And not spoiling, but spoiling a little bit, Herzog doesn't quite end the story.
No.
He kind of create his new chapter, and I thought it was interesting because that's not the case in the book or in the original movie. But he says like, screw it, it's my movie. It's my movie. Yeah,
it's my movie. I will do what I want.
That was a good Herzog.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was really good. Yeah, it sounds just like that. He was on Mandalorian, right?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so that was the second one. Third one. But the second Nosferatu movie.
Yeah.
And last but not least.
So just to be clear, the thing that he did that was really different was he made the husband. In this one, the husband comes back, after being like tortured and everything by Orlok, he makes it back. And he's super sick, and so his wife traps him with the communion wafers because she recognizes like whatever this dark evil is taking over her husband. She sacrifices herself to save her husband. It doesn't work. Even though Nosferatu is defeated, her husband becomes a vampire himself, and we see him with the Nosferatu fangs, which are positioned in the front and not to the side.
Yes,
yeah. So it's a much as one would expect from Herr Herzog. It's kind of a darker, bleaker ending.
Yeah.
And I feel like we can spoil it because it was like 50 years ago.
I mean, you did spoil it. I was trying not to, but if you spoil it, we can also say that he throws Van Helsing under the bus. Like, he's like...
That's right.
Right? It's like, arrest this man! I was like, what? Wait.
Well, then Van Helsing the whole time... Van Helsing the whole time is like, what? No. He doesn't believe anything until he sees until he sees the wife dead, and then he's like, oh my gosh, I was super wrong. And then anyway,
so poor Van Helsing goes.
I feel like after 45 years it's not so much of a spoiler.
But Van Helsing is going to... They don't even have prisons because the plague killed everybody.
That's right.
But they still say, no, you take him. Anyways, so last but not least, you saw the new Robert Eggers Nosferatu release. I think it was on Christmas Day, so a couple days ago.
Yeah.
This one is starring Bill Skarsgård on the role of Count Orlok. And this one they use the original names.
They do this when they stick to the Nosferatu.
Even though they do credit the original Nosferatu, but also Bram Stoker's Dracula. So they use both as inspiration. So Nicholas Hoult as Thomas Hutter, Lily Rose Depp as Ellen Hutter, Aaron Taylor Johnson as Friedrich Harding, William Dafoe coming back, but this time as Van Helsing. Not Van Helsing. It's a Von.
He's Professor
Franz.
Yeah.
Jeez. And Emma Corrin as Anna Harding. And this guy that every time I see him, I thought he was a Simon.
Yes.
What's his bucket? Doctor Who Watson's.
Huh?
Doctor Who Watson's. Doctor Who.
Oh,
Sherlock Watson's.
Sherlock.
Yeah. Benedict, what's the
Martin
name of
Freeman?
the Martin Freeman. The Simon
McBurney.
I always thought it was him, but it was Simon McBurney. Anyways, so in this new one, black and white, stylized digital, looks like beautiful. They shot in Transylvania. They shot in the castle. There was that Vlad, the Impaler, was arrested. Was in prison for some time. They also shot the same locations as the original one, and this one, right from the beginning, starts very different because it starts years before or the story starts on every other movie.
Yeah.
And it gives us, it kind of gives you, but it doesn't give you, it's clarified at the end. But which we're not going to talk about much to spoil. But it's very similar to the original. So as the Werner Herzog one. But it takes artistic liberty to do their own thing at many moments. For instance, I thought there was the Gypsy had a lot more screen time and importance for the story.
Yeah.
The role of the woman changed considerably.
I would think so.
Or at least the meaning of her role changes.
Yeah. I think that's a good way of putting it. The significance of her character and her relationship was changed significantly. I think it was beautiful. All the sets, the way they shot everything, it all feels like very cold and bleak. Even though you have beautiful sets, and a lot of it is taking place in the home of a wealthy friend, and so they have like just gorgeous like furnishings and clothing and all the rest. So that was great.
He distanced himself. I mean, the director distanced his movie from cliches. For instance, the vampire doesn't go for the neck.
Yeah.
It goes for the heart. Or the
like,
torso
yeah.
area.
Yeah. This one I feel like leans a lot more into more graphic horror. There's a lot more blood, a lot more physical distress, and we see a whole lot more of you just see all of Count Orlok.
Yeah, including a big mustache. You thought
Yes,
they would say some
I
other
did.
big
Yes,
thing.
you were setting us up. I see and appreciate what you did there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which I don't know. I had mixed feelings. I have nothing against mustache, but I feel like it's such a I don't know. It's like hair. We know the hair keeps growing for the next couple weeks, right?
Yeah.
But still, for an undead to have hair, it's
It just threw off the visual.
yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. On Anne Rice,
Well, it was me
Vampire
too.
Chronicles, interview with a vampire, right? Tom Cruise has like this beautiful hair as Lestat. So was Brad Pitt.
That's right.
Uh,
Well, we can't all of us be Brad Pitt or Tom
Right.
Cruise. Some of us have to be a Skarsgård.
which work hard for it. He lowered his voice 1 octave, from if I am correct.
And it was impeccable. I feel like the sound was impeccable. I didn't love the appearance of him, and not just because it was different from the other Nosferatus, which in the other movies they stick pretty consistently to the same aesthetic, like folding the hands and long fingers,
Pale,
kind of
phantomly
figure, elongated ears, and sort of bat-like.
There was some
features.
cool-looking visuals, like in the beginning, he approaches, and it's said in the other movies, and I assume it's said in the book somehow, that he one of the things that he cannot be seen in a mirror. He has no reflection, and he's like a shadow. And in the beginning, you see his shadow through the drapers.
Yeah.
Draperies.
Yeah.
The draperies. And it's like it's really cool. It's like he approaches, but just in shadow, where the shadow should be. It was really nice.
It was, and I really loved the way they used shadow, because I feel like there's some like much older movies where they played with like really stark contrasting shadows a lot more. Like in Nosferatu. I'm also thinking of Robin Hood with Errol Flynn, and there's this whole like sword fight on the staircases, but a lot of it you just see the shadow. I feel like we don't really do that a whole lot. Like, I don't know if it's because we have better lighting or more realistic lighting.
But this one, it wasn't.
But I feel like in this one they played with the shadow.
Yeah, but this
a
one,
lot more than you usually see in modern.
In the very beginning,
it
wasn't realistic. There's no way in reality to make that shadow.
Sure.
To make that, it was digitally made. But I thought it was very creative. It was very cool. It doesn't have to be realistic.
Well, and there's a line in the first one about how you can't let his shadow touch you, because like if you fall under his shadow, then you're cursed. Anyway, so there's this whole like power to his shadow. Anyway.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
The cast is good. They do a very good job. What else
I will say in some
about?
cases the cast kind of gives away the story, because like Emma Corrin's character seems like very straightforward, like wholesome, uninteresting at first, but because it's Emma Corrin, you're like, okay, something freaky weird's gonna happen here.
Well, it wasn't different than the other ones, right?
No, it was.
Was?
Yeah.
What happened to Lucy on the second one? On the first one?
Nothing.
Nothing?
I don't think so.
Yeah. I think what happens to her was similar. I think what happens to the husband was different.
Oh yeah, no, that was really different.
Yeah. On Bram Stoker's Coppola's, he goes and help hunt Dracula. So I guess again the inspiration, because they use both the original Nosferatu that was changed to be a movie, and Bram Stoker's Dracula. Anything else? I don't want to spoil.
I don't want to spoil it. So it is a much more like graphic horror movie than the others are, and I'm not sure if that like really adds to it or not, but it was really well done. I think they totally missed on Count Orlok's aesthetic and character design. I think they revealed way too much way too soon, but that's just me being picky. I think overall it takes its place just fine.
I mean, I guess don't they show Orlok like right in the beginning on the original?
Yeah, but like they take some time, like they take a little bit of time to reveal like the full extent of his monstrosity and of his like his evil, even though you kind of know right away, but like his evil, his power, his and all of that, the abomination that he is, it's like it's revealed a little bit over time as the movie progresses until by the end you get it. And this one is just like bam, there it is.
Yeah.
It's just all right there. And so for me it kind of kills some of the like the mystery and the spookiness of it.
Yeah.
But again, that's just me being picky, and that's my taste in.
And also after 3 movies, you know.
Sure.
I mean, we only saw 3. There's more. I mean, these are the big ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just like he never did the Nosferatu hands.
Again,
which I feel like is right up there with, you know how in Solo the guy never does the Harrison Ford point. Like it's just this like such iconic thing.
He doesn't.
He doesn't. Not once. I was waiting for it the whole movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
And there's so many lines where it would have been perfect, and he never did. Anyway, so I just feel like we're just kind of missing that.
Yeah. No, but again,
I'm being very picky. Overall,
it's clear that he avoided the cliches, right? There's no bite in the neck. I don't think there's like teeth, right? The classic vampire teeth. He
not even the Nosferatu.
Either one. The classic canines or the front teeth. Yeah. Anyways, it's good. We recommend. Hollywood. This will not be the last remake. I mean, this one is 100 years after the original. So maybe in 100 years from now, or before that, they're gonna make more. But yeah, this is Nosferatu. The originals, I mean the old ones are available in streaming everywhere, and the new one available on theaters everywhere. The one thing about the original, and there's one thing that we talked about on how adapting source material, a different medium, to cinema. And there's a lot of disrespect of the source material, and they change because it changed because this is the best person for the role, and it is not. It's politics, and there's a risk that I talked about before that maybe if you adapted something, I don't know, 50, 100 times, you're free to change because it was crystallized on that different medium, that the character or the story is that way. So I guess you're free to change. I guess like Shakespeare, they adapted Shakespeare so many times that
Shakespeare himself was adapting older stories.
Yeah, and once it was adapted so many times, okay, it doesn't matter if a man is playing a woman or different races or different
or if it's lions
or you use puppets, It
oh my gosh, a Muppet Shakespeare. Can you imagine? Muppet Hamlet, where like Hamlet's the only human and then everybody else is Muppets. That would be so twisted. Okay. So funny.
Let's trademark this. I copyright that before.
Brilliant. Adam Driver's Hamlet.
Oh my god.
Against Muppets.
Anyways, if they steal our idea, we said it first. This is January 2nd, 2025. We are on the record.
It's $1 million idea.
But $1 million is nothing.
It's true.
Hollywood,
it's a multi-million-dollar idea.
That doesn't pay for lunch. But anyway, so the risk of that. And Nosferatu is an example that did that. They changed things for the screen that the power of modern art, the power of cinema, it changed the lore to a point that it became lore. So in the original Bram Stoker's Dracula dies with a stake in his heart, as you know. You have seen on other things.
Yes. As is common knowledge, best way to take out a vampire.
Yeah, so there's a I can't remember what the movie is. The ways to kill a vampire, and someone says this, a stick to the heart, and then the other guy says, yeah, but what doesn't die with a stick in the heart? I can't remember who says that. It's funny.
It's true.
Yeah. Anyways, so on Nosferatu, the original by Murnau. Murnau changed the names and changed things to make it, to avoid being sued. He still was sued. The movie was collected. It was confiscated. It was burned. He lost all the copies of the movie. Years later, they were able to restore the movie because they found the copies of the movie in different countries. But anyways, he tried to avoid that, changing names, and for the ending, he changed how the vampire dies, and the vampire dies because of sunlight, because of the sunrise, which was not a thing on vampiric lore. And once it was in the movie, that became lore to the point that nobody contested, nobody ever goes back to that. Vampires die.
It's just something you know about vampires.
So it's
That's not true.
What?
Stephanie Meyers did contest it. They don't die, and Stephanie Meyers vampires,
shine.
they don't die. Yes, they shine like diamonds.
Yeah. But isn't there an explanation that, like, because the sun there is like is it diffused, is mild, is
yeah, that's why they live in Seattle.
Exactly.
Because,
So
there is no sun. It rains like 300 days out of the year.
Okay,
or something.
so even her.
So they're still avoiding the sunlight, but it's just not because it kills them, but because it reveals them for the monsters
it's
they
an
really are.
overcast sun.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's interesting to know. That's interesting to see because especially nowadays that they're adapting things and changing because of agendas, because of some minority representation and or because I want it. When you go to mass media, when you make movies for millions, you change something, you might change forever. We talked about this before, like how Iris Allen asked the Flash's wife. They put a black version of her on screen, and now
Nick Fury too.
And Marvel went. They work hard because they had a white Nick Fury on the comic books, so they work hard to find a way to make that one disappear and the other one come. And it's like they create messes, and they have to adapt to basically kill a character that was established, or a story that was established on the way. But because when they decided to adapt, they change, and it's not for that piece. It turns out it changes forever, and there's a risk, there's a possibility that it will happen, and it could happen to anything.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's what we had for Nosferatu, the vampire, the shadow of the vampire, and 2024 Nosferatu. Anything else?
Just a quick note about the old one that I wanted, the original, the 100-year-old one. There are some just really cool practical effects that for us today, watching it, I know exactly how they did it. I know that it was like stop motion or like a quick cut and like a cut and paste with the film. It's stuff that like our 8-year-old does with her Chromebook all the time. But I was just imagining myself being in the 1920s. Like, maybe I've never seen a movie before. Like, this is all very brand new. And seeing it in the theater and how that would just like totally blow my mind to see that stuff. It's just, besides being a very compelling story, and I don't know what's so compelling about vampires, but they're just so interesting, so cool. It's just really cool cinematic history to see unfold. So I really enjoyed this project of watching all four of these, and I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
But and they're very different, but they have some very similar things. Like the scene on this new one when he's saying goodbye to the wife, right? It's like pretty much the way Herzog did.
Yeah.
Very, very like.
Even the location.
I wonder if it was the same place.
It looked very similar.
Yeah.
There's also this great scene where she goes to the beach, to the coast, and she's just starting to get really worried about her husband. But on the beach, there's like all these crosses stuck in the sand.
Weird beaches they have in German.
Presumably like for shipwrecks or sailors lost at sea or fishermen or something. Anyway, but that scene, that shot is in every version. It's such a striking visual. It's good stuff.
Yeah. Anyways,
okay.
So that's the features we saw this week. But we also saw some. We also saw another movie, another feature. A new HBO Max.
Yeah.
Or Max or HBO movie called Kato Lake. And this one is tough because the movie is good, but I don't think you can say anything else about it.
Nope.
It's a thriller with
Uh-huh.
I forgot his name, Larry David.
No, yeah. Not Larry David.
He played
He
a
played
young
Larry
Larry
David,
David
yeah.
on Curb Your Enthusiasm. Logan? No, that's not Logan. I always mistake him and Logan.
Can we tell them who produced it?
Dylan O'Brien.
Yeah.
Eliza Scanlon.
Mm-hmm.
It has Laura Ambrose. It has Eric Lang, Diane Hopper, and many other talented people. Directed by Logan George and Celine Held, which is very unusual. A couple directing? Are they related?
I don't know.
But who produced?
Shyamalan.
Oh, M. Night. M. Night produced.
Man Shyamalan.
I didn't know that. But
I recognize his production company thing at the beginning, but honestly, once this movie gets going, like, I forgot all about it. The plot, it kept me on the edge of my seat. It kept my brain just like working in overdrive, trying to figure out what was coming. And like as things are revealed, like suddenly stuff that you completely forgot happened at the beginning of the movie, and then you're like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
But really, like, I didn't figure, and you know, like we're both pretty good at like figuring out what's coming.
Like Shyamalan does. Nothing is gratuitous. I had my theories in the beginning, but it turned out they used some. It turned out they didn't use some, and it turned out that they like George Costanza's like, I'm out. They end on a high note. Not over explaining anything.
Yes.
Because there's things in this world that they have no explanation. So.
But sometimes screenwriters and directors like really feel like they have to explain all of it, and it's to their detriment. And
it's
this one they nailed it.
It's a bit of instant gratification. How trailers show the movie. It's because I guess it might be hard to bring people to the movie, so they it's like, here is this.
Sure.
So that's why when a person goes, they might have to explain, because I'm here and they're not gonna tell me I paid for it. Some people might think like that. I'm not the case, which I actually thought it was refreshing to end on that way that.
Oh yeah, it was perfect.
That they did.
I don't think I would change a single thing about this movie.
Yeah, and everything connects in a way, but in the beginning, it might be a little confusing. It's not really confusing because you see two different stories, and of course they're gonna connect somehow, somewhere, at some point in time. But it was good. I really liked it. Cato Lake.
Yeah.
It's on Max. We're not gonna spoil. It's a thriller. It's good. You should check it.
Yeah. Pay attention. This is a movie that takes 100% of your attention. It's well worth it, though. Well worth it. Okay, we also finished up the second season of Squid Game.
Yeah, and did it end? It was kind of like...
It's a pretty big cliffhanger. And we were kind of speculating, like, as the story was beginning to unfold in the beginning of the season, we're like, okay, are they going to stretch this out over the last two? Because we know after season 3 it's over. Right?
Yeah, but we didn't know that. They announced this very recently.
Well, sure, but we knew when we started watching.
Oh, we knew.
Yeah.
Okay.
When we started watching. So we're speculating, like, okay, is this storyline, are they going to wrap it up in this season and do something different? Or are they going to stretch it out? And they're stretching it out. So just don't expect any closure. You're not going to get it. But I think
this is a spoiler.
Is it? Hey guys, Squid Game is going to be super suspenseful and distressing to watch. What? Shocker.
Anyways, it's there's like the fallout from the first games. There's more games, and there's more.
I think they did a really good job of like taking the same concept, everything that was successful and popular about the first season, and then kind of stepping it up to and bigoting it, if you will, into a second season. So So yeah, successful. Well done.
Yeah. Anyways, and okay, we have a couple news. We're gonna go quick through it because we're running out of time. But yeah.
Okay, the WB has announced a new film for October 2026. It's coming from Alejandro Iñárritu and Tom Cruise. But this does mean that the Batman sequel from Matt Reeves is getting pushed to 2027.
Yeah.
I wonder if we can blame Nolan a little bit for that and casting Pattinson in his Odyssey film.
I don't know. I think I blame Gunn. I always blame Gunn, James Gunn.
I mean, that seems like a safe choice. Safe bet.
But yeah.
Okay. Also in DC news, Jason Momoa has been cast to play Lobo.
Yeah, he claimed in the past that he always read comic books, especially Lobo, and I always wanted to do it as well. Now he's gonna do it.
It's because he's Lobo in real life. He's like this big hairy man who rides around with giant motorcycles and giant skull rings, and it's what does Perry White say in Man of Steel? No, in Batman vs Superman, he's like, oh, crime wave in Gotham. In other news, water wet.
Right.
Anyway, that's what that makes me think of.
So that makes him the first from the Snyderverse to move to the James Gunn's verse. But of course, there's a lot of people theorizing about the Ultraman's character on the new Superman. This is a black character that has powers similar to Superman, and they're gonna clash. He wears a mask, and there's people claiming and hoping and rumorizing that there's actually Henry Cavill under the mask. I don't know if I like it. I actually don't like that, but we'll see.
I don't buy it.
Weird things happened before, so yeah. Anyways, what else?
Okay, so those are some upcoming movie projects, but there is a movie that's actually already finished, done, but you're never gonna see it.
Yeah, it's gonna be put in a vault, and only gonna be released in 125, right?
2115.
2115. Yeah.
So, I don't know. I don't understand. I'm sure there's some philosophical reasoning behind all of this.
I don't know. Let me see if I can find the information.
Okay. Well, while he's looking that up, there's a Scrabble champion who's caught the attention of the world. He's from New Zealand, and he won the Scrabble championship there a while ago. He's crazy good at it. And then he went on to win the Scrabble championship in France. So, of course, with French words. The thing is, he doesn't speak French. He actually went through and memorized the entire French dictionary in order to win the championship. And as if that wasn't enough, he went and did the same thing in Spain, memorizing the Spanish dictionary and beating all the Spanish Scrabble players. So this guy's a special kind of genius with a massive vocabulary, and he's using it to beat everybody at Scrabble.
Okay, so just about the movie, the film 100 Years is directed by Robert Rodriguez with John Malkovich. It's locked in a bulletproof safe. The movie explored themes of time and legacy aligned with the 100 years maturation process of the cognac. In collaboration with Louis XIII's cognac. While little is known about the project, teasers hint a futuristic narrative. So that's it for this week. May the force be with you.
Live long and prosper.
Bye.
Bye.